What's up, Soul Tribe? And thanks for tuning into another episode of A Piece of Ziya. Today is Sultry Sunday, and I'm super excited to get into today's topic. But before we jump in, I do just want to give a quick trigger warning. Okay, we will be talking about sexual expression, releasing sexual trauma, shame, different things like that. If you feel like that's not something that you're in the right energy to be able to hear and not spiral, feel free to come back at a later date or just disregard this video entirely, okay? Second thing before we jump into today's episode, quick disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I am not a psychologist, a therapist, okay? I'm a holistic healer, and these techniques are not meant to replace any other treatments that you might already have set with a actual provider, okay? So now that we got that out the way, let's jump in with today's episodes. How can you express yourself sexually? And we will be doing a exercise as well. This is an interactive workshop, okay? So we're going to be doing a little bit of an exercise together and speaking some affirmations, starting to try to reprogram our energy field in our mind, our thoughts, our feelings about sexuality, because this is not something that should be shamed or suppressed. This is normal, it's natural, it's human nature, right? I do got some notes here that I'm going to read off and also just talk about my own experiences with, feeling sexual shame and things like that. And hopefully that will help somebody here that is tuning in today. So, how do you express your sexuality? And that is by recognizing and understanding our desires, communicating them effectively, feeling comfortable with our body and our sexuality. These are all ways that we can express our sexuality, okay? And different ways that we can work on healing that relationship with our sexuality and with our bodies would be through acknowledging and addressing any shame, guilt, fear, trauma that we have within that center, within that energy, right? So I know for me personally, for the longest time, I had this limiting belief that I was not worthy and that my boundaries and my feelings never mattered, okay, when it came to sex. And so I was sexually abused a lot growing up as a kid. And I also dealt with a lot of relationships where my voice was silenced, like even if I didn't feel comfortable doing what they were asking me to do, it was like I had to submit. So growing up, like being in those types of situations, it did make me feel less of myself. And I also started to feel very disgusting about myself because there was a lot of things that I never felt comfortable with that I felt forced into. And that really broke me down as a person. So that's why I really wanted to get on here and kind of talk about this today, because I feel like a lot of people can relate, and we're outside of Mother Nature, the great mother, the ultimate healer, and we are even sitting on the ground filming this episode because we're grounding this trauma, this negativity, this energy that we've been carrying for so long. We are grounding it into her, and she is transmuting it into something beautiful, like these lovely dandelions and this beautiful luscious grass that you see. Okay, like she has the ability to help heal all wounds with time and with patience. And if you give yourself some grace and allow yourself to just be human and to feel like all of your feelings, you too can get to a place of feeling comfortable enough to be able to talk about these uncomfortable things, right? So that's kind of why I'm expressing all of this to, random people on the internet, is because I'm finally in a place where I feel comfortable enough to be able to talk about this and not be triggered or upset about it. It was an experience that I overcame, and I'm no longer in that situation. I have to, sometimes you have to remind yourself that, especially if you have PTSD from, sexual trauma, you're not in that situation anymore, hopefully, right? And you can now start to accept what happened to you and take your power back from that person or that situation that took your power from you. And you can start to heal those wounds. It is possible, okay? I'm living, breathing proof that it is possible. I feel for me personally, what my situation was meaning to teach me was to speak up for myself and to have good boundaries and to not be afraid to say no, to be able to tell somebody if that I'm uncomfortable. Like that was something that I just felt like I couldn't do. Like I couldn't open up. Like I said, my voice was silenced at a very young age. So I had a really hard time speaking up for myself. Even now to this day, I kind of catch myself not speaking up for my daughter, like if something makes me uncomfortable, or not speaking up for myself when people are overstepping my boundaries. But it is getting better. Like I said, you just got to give yourself some grace, because healing wounds, especially deep-seated wounds that have been around for years and years and years, it's going to take time. It's going to take time and it's going to take practice. We just need to recenter ourselves back into ourselves, okay? And know that we're safe. We're not in that situation anymore. We're allowed to speak up. We're allowed to have opinions. We're allowed to have boundaries. It's healthy to have these boundaries. I know a lot of society would probably try to tell you otherwise because they benefit more from you when you don't have boundaries. But I'm here to tell you that it is healthy to have boundaries. It is healthy to say no. Many people experience shame because it stems from society and personal experience. So if you have an experience where you're with somebody and you try to express like a desire of yours or what you're curious about experimenting with, and they shut you down and they tell you, that's disgusting, I would never, you're weird for that. Obviously, that's going to start to develop this personal belief of like, I'm not allowed to express this to anybody. That is weird. I'm weird. I'm disgusting. You know, like you're going to start to think these things about yourself. But it's normal to be able to want to experiment, want to explore, right? Especially when it comes to your sexuality. That's how you find out what you like and what you don't like. Some people, they've never tried it, but they wrote it off already, right? It's out of their comfort zone. And that's okay. We're allowed to have, like I said, boundaries and things that make us uncomfortable. But to diminish somebody else's desire or their sexual preferences because they don't align with yours, I think is definitely wrong. There are situations, instances that I would agree, you know, we should never act on, especially if you have that desire. Maybe go seek a therapist or something. So don't take this information and apply it to every fucking situation, because I'm not I'm not talking about touching kids or abusing animals or anything like that, right? That's not what we're talking about. But I'm talking about, you like edging. You like different kinks, right? Maybe you like to be chastised or told what to do. Maybe you like to wear collars, whatever your fucking preference is, okay? Like, you should not be diminished for that just because it's something that excites you. Like, we should be allowed to explore our sensations, right? I feel like if you're dealing with feelings of shame, like I would reassess them and start to try to reprogram. This is me expressing my freedom to express my sexuality. You know what I mean? This is me exercising that right, as you should, right? Addressing shame is crucial for feeling comfortable and expressing yourself authentically, okay? So this goes outside of just sexuality. This starts to affect all the different areas of ourselves. We start to shut down emotionally. We stop allowing ourselves to open up and be free. We stop telling or talking or speaking up for ourselves. We stop daydreaming, imagining. Like, it affects every area of our life, which does in turn start to affect our bodies physically, our bodies emotionally, mentally, spiritually, right? It's all intertwined. Everything's interconnected, right? Once you understand that and you learn that, you start to realize like how important it is to make sure that we're dealing with these things, right? We want to be a well-rounded, well-balanced individual. Our well-being needs to be our top priority, right? What do we got next? We have accept and explore your desires. Putting yourself in a safe environment and helping yourself feel comfortable with exploring these different desires that you have. So, like I said before, you can learn what it is that you like and what you don't like. And if you have a partner that is not comfortable with that, maybe try doing it on your own terms, right? There is self pleasure. I do encourage it because that's the best way to know your body. Because that is important, okay? It is important in our self expression and our confidence, you know. Find you a partner that matches you in all the ways, okay? Your openness, your comfortability, your confidence, your boundaries. And I know as humans, you know, we're not going to fully 100% agree, but there are moral, like, core things that I do feel like if you're going to choose a partner that you should be on the same page about. Sexual pleasure, things like that. I feel like that's one of them. You don't want to get bored with somebody and start trying to seek outside validation or outside pleasure outside of your situation because your partner just never wants to try anything with you. You know, like you don't want to put yourself in a situation like that. So, and we got to embrace your body. Connecting with your body and appreciating its sensations are a key part of sexual expression. Okay, self pleasure, self care, and confidence. Experiment with yourself. Take care of your body, love your body, appreciate your body. You know, light some candles, touch your body. Like, you are only limited by your own comfortability and your own confidence. So, you know, go big or go home, baby. Sex is natural and normal. People really be trying to act like that's just something that is just disgusting. Like, everybody does it at some point in their life, whether it's with their self or another person. Everybody has those desires. Like, it's just programmed within our DNA. And we want to reproduce. Like, it's natural, it's normal. We got open minded. So, trying new, different techniques, positions, all right? That is all part of the fucking expressing ourselves sexually. I also put down seek support if needed. So, if you are somebody that really does struggle with releasing those feelings of shame, insecurity, trauma, you know, there are different tools and outlets for you to be able to seek out for support if that's something that you're feeling like you're needing. Don't ever feel like you're alone because the sad truth is, like, a lot of the population struggles with these feelings, with this trauma. And you're not alone in all of this. Now let's get into our exercise that we're going to do, okay? And you can do this outside or you can do it inside. But I recommend doing it outside because we're connecting with the great mother, the healer, right? And she is going to actually help us release these different things. So what you're going to do is you're going to get into a squat position, you know, legs about shoulder width apart. And you're going to squat down real deep, as deep as you can go. And you're going to open your pelvis area up, all right? And we're going to say, I am ready to release any negative thoughts, projections, and feelings surrounding my freedom to express my sensuality and my sexuality. And you're going to feel that like pulsate within this area right here, okay? This is where your sacral chakra is. So this is the area that we're targeting when we are saying these affirmations. And you can even rock with it a little bit. You can lean into it or whatever is comfortable for you, okay? I am releasing any sexual shame, guilt, fear, and trauma that keep me from feeling safe to express myself in ways that feel good to me. Again, we're focusing our energy, our chi, into this center right down here, okay? Well, it's right below the navel, right above your pelvic area, all right? I am fully centered in my confidence to express my desires. Deep breath. Channel your energy, channel your energy. I am free to have boundaries and express them when something doesn't feel good or makes me uncomfortable. I enjoy experimenting with my body and sensations. Okay. And we're just gonna imagine letting go of any heaviness or low vibrations, negativity, trauma, anything that is keeping us imbalanced within our sacral chakra. We're letting it go. You can even imagine like water kind of running down you and washing all of this into Mother Earth, right? And we're going to thank Mother Gaia, and we're going to thank ourselves for showing up and doing this here today. And I appreciate you all for coming and tuning in with me always. I'm sending you guys lots of love. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell button so you don't miss when I upload. Please take care of yourself, and I hope to see you guys in my next one.